Alright, this is New Era Gardener. And this video is going to be going over whether I should let these bins go for a little longer or if I should harvest them. Usually I let them go for about 3 months. Should I let them go longer? This one here, I can make that decision. So I think this one here, this can be harvested. This has biochar. Not seeing a lot of baby worms, but a lot of worms. So this one I would say can be harvested. Well, there's some baby worms there. So I'm looking for the feedback on these bins. You know, everybody does their bins different. If you're really looking to get a lot of compost or worm castings out of it, the longer you do, the more castings you're going to have in it. 3 months for me is good. The way I feed them and the way the bins are set up, I think 3 months is good. But you tell me, 3 months good? I see some people go 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 120 days, 160 days, 190 days. You tell me. Now, to me, that bin's nice. Good product, a lot of worms. So, we're going to go through 3 bins. I'm going to show 3 bins. So you tell me. This one has biochar in it. Has quite a bit of biochar. A lot of worms in it. So, for me, it's very healthy. But you tell me what you think about the way the bin looks. 3 months. And what's the benefit if I do it longer? I mean, I know what the benefit is. The benefit is I'm going to get more castings. If I'm allowing the worms to inhibit this bin longer, I'm going to get more castings. So, is it a benefit to do so or not? I like the way it looks. It's got a nice color to it. It's got a lot of castings in it, a lot of worms. All the newspaper has been devoured or broken down. So I think it looks good. You tell me. I mean, there's a lot of worms in here. So it's a very healthy bin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up another bin. I got 3 bins I want to go through. They're both, all 3 bins are supposed to be done now as far as harvesting. They either have the 23rd or the 16th or the 10th. This bin here is the 10th. There's one bin here that's the 10th. So, just want to know, what do you think? Should I be harvesting these bins or should I let them go for another month? That's a little bit of paper, but there's no newspaper in here. It's nice and fluffy. It's not wet. I don't want to squeeze my worms, but good moisture there. Good amount of worms in here. So, also have the biochar in here. So, I'm going to pull up another bin. We're going to take a look at that bin and see exactly what that one looks like also. This bin is supposed to be done on the 16th also. Today's the 15th. There's a little paper still left in this one. But you tell me, what does this bin look? If I look at it, I still see some coconut core in here that hasn't been broken down. There are some banana peels in here that I put in here. I'm going to take those out. So I'm kind of going to mix up this bin so we can take a look at it and see. You have worms that are stuck to it, but that's okay. Just gonna put it there. I'm just gonna dig a little hole. The bottom, no paper on the bottom, but I will say, a lot of worms though, a lot of worms. Real active bin, very good active bin. Product is good, not a little drier than I like my bins to be, but nice. Like I said, I don't want to squeeze my worms, but product sticks together. Still a little bit of paper in there. What do you think should happen with this bin? Should it be a bin that I turn over and harvest? Go ahead and harvest. There's probably a little bit of biochar in here, flakes that I activated, but to me, there's still quite a bit of newspaper in here. It's a little drier than I like it to be, so that would make me harvest it so I don't have to wet it. Nice. I like this product a little bit better. It's a little darker, which tell me there's more worm castings in it. But let's just say this particular bin with a little bit of paper still left in it. I can harvest this and just take out the all the paper and then just put it back in after I harvest this bin. But what do you think? Let me know. What do you think? Should that be a bin that you would harvest, or based on that? And it could be that I put a little more paper in here than the other bin. Sometimes that happens. You know, I'm making a big batch of bedding, and I put in a certain amount of paper, a certain amount of cardboard. I mean, and pretty much what's here is the cardboard. There's some paper, but most of it in the castings is the cardboard. So there's quite a bit of cardboard. That's cardboard. So I could let it go for another month if I wanted to, or I can just harvest. But what would you do based on if you were looking at this? The moisture level is a little bit dry, not as moist as I would like it to be, and plenty of worms in here, healthy worms. They're moving around. Basically, after turning this, you got worms all on top, worms in the bottom, a little bit of biochar flakes in here. So for me, this one, I'm probably going to let this run for a couple of weeks. I'm probably going to wet it real good and feed it nothing but dry food. So I'm gonna feed it either rabbit manure or goat manure or the homemade compost, homemade worm food. So that's what I'm gonna do. But you tell me what you would do based on that. I showed you what the moisture was like. I mean, there's a lot of worms in there. I really don't want to squeeze my worms. But that moisture isn't bad. And like I said, it's a 50-50. It can be harvested. You know, there's not a ton of paper in there. But if I wanted to let this go for one more month, if I had to say that this product is darker, has more worm castings than the other one, has been broken down a little more, this one definitely has been. So I'm going to pull the third bin up, and we're going to take a look at that bin also. this is the third bin. This one also has a little more, but like I said, this bin, healthy, looks good, nice moisture, just looking at it, and but when I'm looking at it, there's still a lot of cardboard. This one might have got more cardboard. Might have put more when I made that batch of bedding. It might have had more cardboard. So there's nothing wrong with going ahead and harvest this particular one. This one also has quite a bit of coconut coir. It does have some avocado, some banana leaves that I put underneath. There's a couple. Nice size worms. So, very healthy bin. Gonna put this up there. Very healthy bin. Oh yeah. Yeah. Very healthy bin. I mean, look at those worms. I haven't even dug deep into there. But like I said, there is now when I'm going down, I see a lot of paper and stuff like that in there. Bits and pieces of paper. So for me, this particular bin, even though, I mean, it's healthy. I mean, I'm looking at all those worms. The product feels good. Nice dark product. Moisture is perfect. I like the moisture on it. I mean, tons of worms. But, like I said, there is quite a bit of new remnants of newspaper, or I should say paper, period, and cardboard. So if I had to make my decision on this one, as healthy as this one is, oh yeah, I would definitely let this one go for another couple of weeks, maybe even another month. A lot of product in here. Nice moisture. Not wet, but just good moisture. Really not seeing a lot of cocoons, but lots of worms. Baby worms, or I shouldn't say baby worms, but mature worms, and adolescent worms. Let's say adolescent worms. I mean, that's full of worms. I mean, there's a lot of worms in there. And that's the thing about when you're doing your bin, you're harvesting your bin and you see all the worms that you have in here. I mean, there's tons of worms in there. And you throw back the baby worms. A couple of videos back, I showed you on how I harvest the bin, and I took those baby worms and I separated them, and I said, maybe I'll start a new bin. Instead of starting a new bin, I wound up putting them back into this particular, well, not this bin, but back into the bin. You know, you can call it recycle, you know, repopulate. Like I said, there's a 6-inch mark here that shows how high it is, how high I like to put it. I mean, these are nice sized worms. I mean, I don't have any problem with these worms. Red wigglers are very good worms, composting worms. So this bin, yep, is going to get another couple of weeks out of it. Might even get a full month out of it. Continue feeding it. As the other bin, like I said, I wind up using dry food, which is the manures and the worm food, and that's all I'm going to feed them. So these are 2 good bins. So I'm very happy with that. Bins are doing fine. Nice, healthy bins. when you look at your bins, what are you looking for, and what are you looking at when you start to flip your bins? A month in, I usually will go through my bins and flip them and start to move the product from the top to the bottom. Basically, after I have fed them and they have devoured their food, I will start to turn it over and just get aerate it. Just kind of get it fluffy. Get it back up to that level, that 6 ounce, that 6 inch level. So that's what I do. And how do you do yours? Do you mix it? Because when it just compacts, there's no air in it. Doesn't give them the opportunity to move around as much. It doesn't fluff it up. Gives them an opportunity to eat and survive a little bit better if there's a little more room and it's more fluffy for them to move around in. I mean, there's a lot of cardboard. That's what's left in here, the cardboard. So by no means, if there was no cardboard in there, this bin would be perfect to be done now, like the first bin that I showed. But because it has some cardboard in it, and I want to bring up the percentage of worm castings in here, I'm going to leave it and let them do what they do. So I'm going to probably do that. Over the summertime, when they're more active because the temperature is warmer in the house and in the basement, I'll let them go for 4 months because they're going to be so active. They're going to be eating more. They're going to be leaving more deposits behind. And that's what we want, those deposits. We want our compost, worm casting compost, to be very high in worm castings. But my other thing is I sift all my worm castings. I sift it through 2 different screens. I do 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch, and I do the 1/8 inch because I feel that I'm getting nothing but the worm castings out when I'm doing that. I'm leaving all the stuff that did not break down, all the coconut core that did not break down, or any paper, any debris. I'm leaving all that behind. And when I'm sifting it, I'm giving you nothing but the castings. But some people don't mind and want it to be a little on the chunkier side. But because I do sell mine, I want to give the finest product, the cleanest product that I can give out. So that's another reason also of going for the 4 months, a little bit longer on these bins. I harvested a couple of bins last time, and one of the bins went for 4 months, and just the product that was there, it was dark, it was moist. I liked that product a whole lot better than not that I didn't like any other product. All the product is good. I like the way it is, but that was a dark, rich product. I really like that. That particular one had 22 ounces of worms, which is 1 pound, 6 ounces of worms. So almost like close to a pound and a half of worms, which is, over just about, 1250 in worms, almost 1500 in worms. So I mean that's a lot of worms in this small area, and that's what you have to realize. Think about it. One of the bins that I just showed you, the larger bin, that bin is probably at least 6 inches, I'll say 4 to 5 inches longer than this bin. It's also maybe about 3 inches wider than this bin. So the product that's in there is a whole lot more product than what's in here. This particular bin, to be honest with you, I believe that I put the wrong date on this one when I harvest this bin last, because there was one bin that was left over that did not get harvested at the same time as the others. And I got a feeling that this particular bin, this is that particular bin. But nevertheless, it's a healthy bin. It's moist. It's not wet. You saw the product. It's not wet. So it looks very, very good. So I'm very happy with that product. So we're going to take this bin down. Once again, this bin is also going to go for another 2 to 4 weeks as the other bin. I will only harvest one bin. But at the same time, I'm going to try, I'm going to put this up here. Alright, I know I just messed that all up, but this is how I store my worm castings other than the regular 5-gallon containers. I put my worm castings in a bucket. Based on the product that was in here, it was 100 pounds. This is full to capacity. It's full. It's moist. These worm castings are probably about 6 months old. When I do sell my castings, I sell my freshest castings. I don't pull from these. I have 3 of these bins that are full like this. That's a lot of worm castings. So that's what I wind up doing. These are going to go in my garden. They're going to go in my beds. It's a nice moist. And the thing is, when I top it, when I close it, I actually use the filter fabric. So I put the filter fabric over the top. Excuse me. And I use the strap that comes with it. Strap it down, and that way it's completely closed and you don't have to worry. I don't have to worry. So air's getting in and out of here. The product doesn't dry out. It's not suffocating the microbes that are in here. It allows the microbes to stay alive longer. So that's why these 3 bins that I have, these are my personal bins. What I harvest on a regular basis is what I sell on eBay. So you're getting the freshest product that you can. This is going to go in my compost, in my beds, and it's going to go in my garden. So that's what it is. All right, that's about it for right now. I probably will shoot a video also later tonight on seedlings. I did some seed starter mix. I have already planted up several trays, but I'll probably just go through the process that I do in order for using what I made for my seed starting mix. Just so you can see exactly what I'm using, how I use it, and how it looks. And we'll go from there. All right, once again, this is New Era Gardener. Thank you for visiting New Era Gardener.